DJ, you guys have some standout individual performances, but do you have a defensive MVP for the year?
For the year, I think if I had one, it would be between Bud or Avery.
Who coach?
Bud Dupree or Avery Williams.
What makes each
What about
each
Blake
one of those
McClain,
special?
coach?
Blake McClain, I thought he played very well for a newcomer. I think he probably was our best newcomer. He played very
What
well.
makes Bud special? What makes Avery special?
Bud is not only athletic and has all the tools, but he's very smart too. You tell him to do something and he does it. He can adjust on the run. He's got football intelligence, and that's probably what makes him special.
What about
Avery is just a tremendous worker. Studies the game, wants to always be one step ahead of his opponent. He's putting in the extra time. He's focused every practice, every meeting to be the best player he can be.
DJ, how do you bring a team back after you go through something like you guys went through Saturday night?
Well, it's tough. You go through a bad loss, and sometimes people may lose confidence, or guys are really down. So you just got to be a coach. You go through that when you're a coach, and you got to get them back up, and you got to get them focused on the next opponent.
Mark talked about sort of the problems it caused when you had so many guys missing in the secondary, and you try to move one guy around, and then one problem leads to another problem. Did it just feel like there were no answers with what you had to do in the back end there?
It just was a challenge. You got guys in different spots, so sometimes you're afraid to call something different because you're not sure exactly how that player is going to play, or how he may react to a new call. But it just makes it a tough challenge. I know offense has dealt with it this year, so it's just a harder challenge.
This, unlike days of old when Tennessee and Kentucky was a rivalry game, you allude to the fact of being hard to get them up. You can't use that as a motivator. How difficult is it going to be to get these guys ready to play?
I think that our guys got a chance to get a W, so they only got one chance left. So I think that they're going to be fired up and ready to go.
What are the things about Tennessee's offense that are most concerning to you?
Their offensive line is the best part of their unit. They block very well. Those guys are big and athletic, and they've had a lot of starts and a lot of games. They're veteran players.
You were talking about Avery earlier about hard worker, studies hard. Does he play above his athleticism because of that?
I think he's pretty athletic too. I wasn't saying that he wasn't athletic, because those are his biggest qualities. But I do think it makes him the best player he can be. It does. That he studies the game, and he's the best he can be mentally on Saturday as well as physically.
Talk about Khalid's development and play late in the season.
Khalid's done some good things, mixed and matched with him and Trayvon throughout the year, and they each have their attributes that they bring to the team. Sometimes they've played really well, and sometimes they haven't played as good. But he's gotten better, and looking forward to working with him this offseason, even after this game.
Is there an element of, when this thing is over, that you will sort of be relieved a little bit, that you can stop and work with guys without a win or a loss at stake on Saturday?
Well, you just have more time. You've got to get the critical corrections in each week because you've got to get what's ready for that game that week, whereas in the offseason you can start from scratch and really build the player.
Once the season starts rolling, when you're right in the middle of it, certainly the SEC schedule, and as problems become apparent, is it much harder to fix them, with the train in motion?
Yeah, your time is limited. Yeah, because you only got so many days, so many practices before the next game.
What to you is the most important thing to fix in the spring?
From a defensive
fall, yeah.
Oh, I think we just fundamentally have got to be sound in every aspect. We've got to understand the defense and how it works, and make sure that each player knows exactly his job to every situation that he may face. And to be sound fundamentally is going to get you there.
Is this another patchwork effort Saturday? I mean, obviously Mark said Nate is out, getting his knees scoped. You had some other guys get sort of beat up in that last game and have been all year. Is this going to be another mix and match day Saturday?
We won't be, full speed, but, it's going to be the next guy up mentality, and whoever's ready to go is going to play.
What about Zadarius? How do you feel like he's played this year, and what does he need to improve on in the offseason?
Zadarius has done some good things. You know, he's only been here, you know, one season as well, and you know, has played well at times, and is sound, very sound in the run game, and he's gotten better every week as well. You know, I thought he had a good game on Saturday, and he has only played football now for 3 years total in his entire career. You know, because he played basketball in high school, so his room for growth for a player that's going to be a senior is much higher than most players that are going to be a senior.
DJ, which player or players off the defense have been your most pleasant surprise this year?
Blake McLean did a good job for us as a true freshman, and you know, he's a guy that we've had to play at a lot of different positions and fill him in. He's been corner, he's been safety, he's been nickel, and you know, he's done a good job for us at those spots.
If you had a full complement of guys, if you didn't have holes to patch, what position would you most like to play in that?
I think that Blake has been very good for us this year at nickel. I think that nickel's been the best position for him this year.
DJ, you guys have tried hard to be as multiple as you can be with all your personnel limitations. New defense, young guys. How well have they handled what you all threw at them this year defensively?
They've done a good job at times, and at times they haven't, you know, and we've tried to be as multiple as possible. We've tried to develop a bunch of different packages, and you guys probably can see that by how often we rotate. It's, you know, we've got different packages that we try to get in the game to get our best players on the field for certain situations, and certain times in certain games they've done a very good job, you know, and then other times it hasn't been as well. So I'd say it's about 50-50.
Is I guess what you're trying to do with recruiting and so forth in the future, where you won't be quite as package oriented, that you'll have guys that are flexible enough that they can play, and you won't have to sub in and out quite as much?
We may, you know, it usually depends on who we're playing, what they're doing, and who I think the best players are for certain situations. It may be that way, though. I know what you're saying. We may have a guy that's versatile enough that he can do both. He's big enough to play the run. He's fast enough to play the pass.
But a lot of it's predicated on what your opponent does.
Correct.
Going forward with two seniors in those losing, what do you see for the future there? Who would put them in?
To fill the senior spots that we're losing?
Yes, at the interior line.
At the interior line, well, I can't talk about recruits, but we've got some good guys committed there, and you know, we've got some guys on the team. I think Mike Douglas has done a good job as a defensive lineman for us on the inside, and we've got some developmental guys that we redshirted this year, Melvin Lewis and Reggie Ment. You know, they've redshirted, and they've done a good job for us in practice. So I think there's a bright future there.
Coach, replacing the middle when you have a guy like Avery, who's not only been maybe your best player, but also your best leader, what do you do to kind of fill his role now, moving forward?
Well, somebody's got to fill it from a leadership standpoint, and that may not be a linebacker. You know, so one of these veteran players has got to step up and be a great leader for us to fill that leadership role. And then from a linebacker role, we'll just have to go through the offseason and see. We'll have to find out who can fill that spot. It may be more than one person.
You feel like you lost something Saturday when on the defensive side when Mobley played like he did?
I was excited to see that long run. That was a good job. I was happy for him and the team.
Anybody else? Very good. Okay.